Hello everyone and welcome to the Tractor Beam Comics Reviews, your one-stop shop for in-depth commentary and discussion, usually on this week's comic books. Today we're doing something a little different. It's Tractor Beam Live, a hive of Scum and Villainy. We're talking primarily about a comic that spanned 42 issues from 2020 to 2024. That's Marvel's Star Wars Bounty Hunters, written by Ethan Sachs.
Woo!
Welcome to Toronto. How's it going?
It's going really well. Not at all intimidated by
Where are you from?
enforcer. I'm from New York.
Okay.
Went to school though in Montreal for university, so definitely consider Canada my second home, and would love for it to be my first home right about now. That's the subject for another podcast.
We don't blame you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll also chat a bit about his current book, Hyperspace Stories Codebreaker, from Dark Horse, which features Poe Dameron before The Force Awakens, and some other projects. And of course, comic book is a highly visual medium, and issues 1 to 17, 20 to 22, 24 to 31, and 33 to 34 of Bounty Hunters were masterfully drawn by Paolo Villanelli, coming to us all the way from Rome. You want to stand up, Paolo?
Hi, how are you doing?
Pretty good. Thanks for joining us. I know it's much later there. How are you doing this evening?
Especially since you thought this was yesterday,
Oh, yeah.
which was very funny.
Yeah.
There we go. We're all good. That's it.
My life is a mess.
Aren't all of our lives a mess?
There we go. Including a lot of the characters in Bounty Hunters.
Yeah.
Why not? There we go.
Entirely Paolo's fault.
There we go.
We'll get to that.
My name is Matthew. I'm the regular host of the Tractor Beam every Wednesday night, and I'll get to the plugs for that at the end. But joining us to lead today's chat is a special guest, my con panel bestie and friend of the pod, Ash. How's it going, Ash?
It's going. Yeah.
Right.
All I have to say is, Air Canada, you will be defeated in single combat one day.
Well, why don't you dive right in?
Yeah. Okay, so starting off for Ethan and Paolo, who is your favorite bounty hunter from Star Wars? Mine's Forlong, because of course, baby.
You want to go first? Or you want me to go first?
You go first, though. It's like in comics. I do the script first, I draw stuff, so...
There we go.
I mean, I kind of have two answers. Like one, Tonga, who's a character that Paolo and I co-created, is special because this is sort of our daughter, I guess. As weird as that sounds, maybe. But I think of the classic ones, I've always really liked Bosk, because I kind of feel like Bosk is the most well-adjusted bounty hunter. Like all our bounty hunters in that book were a bunch of neuroses and like all these sorts of problems, and he's just somebody who just goes through life without any sense of anything remotely related to second guessing himself. So I kind of really like that about him. The thing I didn't like about him is all the S's I had to figure out where to put in the dialogue. That was the one drawback.
Yes.
Yeah, Paolo, your favorite bounty hunter?
I guess for me, it was down just to the classic ones, the bunch that's presented in Empire Strikes Back. Those were my favorite ones. But at first I was going to say like Bosk, like Ethan said. But after drawing him for so long, I think Dengar grew on me so much that he's my favorite one. I don't know why. It makes no sense, but he's my favorite one.
Makes no sense.
Dengar is just a problem, but it's also wild to say that Bosk is the most well-adjusted.
Yeah.
It really shows you how not well-adjusted all of these characters are. And I think all of their collective insanity and their ability to find a family towards the end really helped a lot of us, like especially Balance Nation, get through the horrors that have been the last handful of years. Get through them, but also suffer more.
So on that note, we do have this question, there was a lot. Well, I'm just trying to find it where it is. The tears.
Oh, yeah. We're gonna talk about crying now. What number was it?
Sorry. You know how to word it. Go for it. Just wing it.
Sure. No, I don't know where it is.
Number 3.
Number 3. Okay. So over the span of Bounty Hunters, all 42 issues, both of you caused a lot of tears. This is a trial for both of you, and there's a reason I'm Mon Mothma, because I am very good at keeping a straight face during a trial. We all know that. Chopper's not here, so he won't be fighting either of you. What do you have to say in your respective defenses?
Paolo did it. Entirely Paolo. 100%. No, I mean, as an example of Paolo's crimes against humanity, there was a scene where, and it's a spoiler for anyone who's not gotten into it, so Valance, who is the main character for much of the run, had this love interest for much of his life and thinks that she died. We find out later, spoiler alert, that she did not die, because we didn't actually kill very many characters, or many main characters. But Paolo drew this heartbreaking scene of Valance collapsed on his knees, and then he added a skull behind it. It was definitely not in the script. So that is 100% you, as well as killing the Nexu. There was this giant Nexu, for those of you who, I mean, you've all seen the Nexu in Attack of the Clones. It's basically a giant cat, and this one was kind of like basically like the pet of the bounty hunter crew. And I killed off in the script the Nexu because Paolo hated drawing her, because the scale, and it was kind of a pain, and I understand that. But I wrote poor Furball out of the picture for you. Yeah. So these are, I submit those into evidence.
Paolo, what do you have to say? No, go ahead.
I'm starting to believe almost all this stuff.
I don't know. What do you have to say for yourself?
Well, in my defense, for the part where I drew the skull, I was getting inspired by a particular emotional scene in a very old Italian comic book. That's a Shakespeare adaptation. So basically, I was thinking about that while drawing that scene, and so that's why I took the skull. I thought it was gonna be very dramatic, So I say, oh yeah, let's make some people cry. You are the ones you love the most. So it was my love letter to the readers.
It worked, because I'm still sad over it.
I feel that was less of a defense and more of a confession, I believe.
Oh yeah.
We'll accept it. It will be entered into evidence.
I have maybe a follow-up there, for both of you, but Ethan, as the writer, plotting out a 42-run series, 42-issue series. This is all about the thing we talk about storytelling with setup and payoff, and a tragic setup. There's definitely positive setup and payoff, but for these more tragic, heartbreaking moments, what goes into plotting through in character arcs, plotting through with Valance, for example. You set this up fairly early, I think, and then executing it at the end. Yeah,
so like when we were starting out, we had no idea how long we would get. You basically are guaranteed to get 5 issues, and then everything that comes after that is like dependent on sales, and so it's kind of hard. I knew from the beginning how I knew what the last page was going to be. Like I wanted to have Valance reaching out his hand to the reader, and I didn't know who was going to be on the other end of that hand, though. That kind of evolved. So when I was approached, I don't know how much of this you know, Paolo, but when I was approached by Mark Panicia, who's the editor of the Star Wars line, to write Bounty Hunters, the thing he said is, like, we want to bring Valance, who was a character that was created in the original Marvel Star Wars run, we want to bring him front and center. We want him to be like the Punisher of space. And I was like, I'm not really that interested in just like an action star kind of, like I want and at that time, some of you have heard this already, but like my daughter had some pretty severe mental health crisis, and she was hospitalized after a suicide attempt, and so this was just like fairly maybe a year or two later, and we're still kind of going through this, and so PTSD and mental health struggles were very much on my mind, and so like what I pitched instead was, what if Valance is a veteran, and he's had been catastrophically injured, and his moral belief system has been shattered, and he's been physically repaired. He's a character that looks like a cyborg, if you haven't seen him before. By the way, he was created 6 years before the Terminator. So just a lot of people say, oh, it was like a ripoff of the Terminator, but no, he was first.
No.
Hashtag balance.
So I wanted to create a character that would be somebody who he's been repaired physically, but is trying to repair himself emotionally over the course of the entire. And so I knew that whatever the ending was going to be, it was going to be him at least temporarily until someone else came along, kind of at the end of that journey. And then at the same time, while one editor wanted it to be about Valance, the editor-in-chief of Marvel at the time, CB, wanted to really have the classic Empire Strikes Back bounty hunters. We couldn't use IG-88, and we couldn't really use Boba Fett for reasons that Lucasfilm had. I believe IG-88 was because they were planning on introducing IG-11, and they kind of, in The Mandalorian, the first season. And then Boba Fett, I still don't know why, but we could only use him sparingly as a special guest star. So we kind of brought those together in the book.
I mean, Paolo, maybe a similar question there. In terms of with Valance's character, are there kind of moments where you'd maybe emphasize his more human face and then his more cyborg elements? Certain things happen to bring that out?
Well, like Ethan said, the story was really about Valance's journey, to become like a real boy. Yeah, it's like Pinocchio. So what I figured was that we needed to show him struggling for his humanity. That's why in the very first arc, he's always, trying to repair his face, he's always touching it, because he's trying to put that skin back, to cover. He wants to pass as human as much as possible. But at some point, he just gives up. As we go on with the issues, you start noticing that he's accepting it. And at some point, there are scenes where when he goes full, Terminator mode, he just is in the middle of a battle, the face it rips off. There is a particular strong scene that I love to draw when he's basically climbing into space on the side of a spaceship, and his face is basically a mess. And I think, okay, this is when we show what Valance is really capable of. So as Ethan said, he's not human, he's not machine, he's fighting because to make a living, he's a bounty hunter, but he's also struggling a lot. And it shows in book, we punched him so bad, like a lot.
That's true.
Not just emotionally.
So with Bounty Hunters, there was also the Star Wars run, the Darth Vader run, the Dr. Aphra run, which were done by other phenomenal writers as well. And there were crossovers that you guys got to work on. Within that, there was War of the Bounty Hunters, Crimson Reign, and Dark Droids. What was your favorite one to work on, and what was the collaboration process like with the other writers and artists?
So one of the really cool things was it was, I think, a golden age, not just because I'm horribly biased, but for the Star Wars comics in general. It was a time when all the Marvel comics were told in the same era. So it was basically in that year, which we stretched out to like 4 years, but between that year between Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi. And so we had a Zoom, the writers had a Zoom with the editors every Wednesday. And it was just great. So we really were able to plan together, and there would be cameos, there would be things that happened in one book that were referenced elsewhere. And so it was really, it was like a writer's room on a TV show, and our leader was really Charles Soule. He was the one who took the sort of the lead on those crossovers, but he was incredibly generous because he'd be like, all right, what do we want Valance, what do you want to happen to Valance during War of the Bounty Hunters? And I was like, I think it would be great for him to team up with Boba Fett, who they both hate each other. And 9 out of 10 times when they fight, Valance gets his ass kicked.
Yeah.
And then he'll be like Charlie Brown and Lucy with the football, where he's going to get screwed over. Like Boba Fett's going to blow him up, and so he goes along, and of course it's going to end badly. But it was funny because of all the other books for that one, War of the Bounty Hunters, there was this party, and they're all set in this party, but Valance and Dengar take forever to get there. So like ours was them getting to the party late, basically. So I know that was hard for you, right? Because you had to draw a scene that hadn't been drawn yet, as I recall.
Yeah.
Yeah. What was that?
Like? That's the problem, for artists when it comes to these crossovers. We have to reference each other. It's always a mess. There's always something like, oh, someone else is gonna draw it, and you're like, yeah, when? and nobody has an answer. But I think we managed pretty well because we are in a position with Star Wars where we are actually working with something bigger that's being done before us. So whenever someone says, there are an Imperial corridor, easy one. We've seen tons of them. So it was okay. And of course, writers can help. In this case, with Bounty Hunters crossover with Dengar and Valance getting to the party, it was basically they were basically on a nice planet. So everything was icy. It was easy for me, just them waiting in the snow. It was nice, and it was fun because it was one of those situations where we put Dengar in many dangerous situations, and I actually enjoyed it, and the characters started to grow on me in that. Okay, it was fun.
I don't know if you know this. I think I told you this, but originally I wanted Hondo for that Dengar role.
Oh, yeah.
But that was rejected, and they were like, "What about Dengar?" I was like, "Oh my God, it's like a last place trophy, And but he did grow on us. He really did.
Especially you, Paolo. You loved it. So.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like he also grew on me at the same time.
I think my favorite was when you drew. There was that creature, and he has the knife, and he looks down at his tiny little knife, like there's no way he's gonna win that battle. And the way you drew him, like looking down at the knife, just knowing he's screwed.
That was peak Star Wars. Looking at the knife and going, oh, voodoo. It was perfect. I think it was perfect. One of my favorite moments, too. I think that the fact was that Dengar worked so well with Valance.
Yeah.
They were great together.
Yeah, they're both kind of off the wall, kind of a little weird characters, too.
Okay. Was there anything that you wanted to do with Bounty Hunters that didn't ultimately pan out, and will we maybe see it in the future?
Mm-hmm. I feel like I'm gonna say something controversial, but
no.
I'll say this. I would have liked.
Hondo.
No, I would have liked to do a little bit more with Vakora's character. I think.
Yeah.
That, and I understand why I couldn't do as a cis male writer. I wasn't the right person to do it, so I hope someone else. Because what you have to understand is even the characters we co-create, because they're Star Wars, they're not ours. So there's a lot of reasoning and things for I know I'm being very cryptic here, but the way I see them is they're blocks of marble, and you're chiseling and you're seeing part of the characters. And then somebody else will come along and chisel out a little bit more. And so there's more to her character, I think, that I would love for like an Alyssa Wong or somebody to take that baton.
Seconded.
Thirded. Is that a thing?
Yeah,
I
sure.
don't know.
For those who maybe haven't read Bounty Hunters yet, tell us a bit more about Vakora.
So, Vakara is a character that started out as basically a homicidal maniac villain, but it was not like we didn't really develop the backstory at all then. And then Alyssa, because we're all working in the same era, Alyssa Wong, they were the writer of Dr. Aphra, took Vakara and turned her into an even cooler villain. And then we started thinking of a backstory where, because we traumatized every single character in Bounty Hunters except Bosk. Bosk is completely
Bosk is well adjusted.
But we had this backstory where essentially Vakara was raised from birth to be this assassin in this very horrific way for this crime family, and I think a lot of people in the trans community saw something in Vakara, and we dropped hints, shall we say, but we could never say explicitly. And I think the reason was, both because we were a cis male writer and artist, and also the character maybe we didn't want to have any kind of negative portrayal. Like if this character was a villain, we didn't want what I call the Silence of the Lambs, type thing. But I love Vakara. I love characters that overcome trauma and become something else. So then we just started. She basically took control of our narrative, right? She became this. Yeah. Like she pushed back on, once she experiences the trauma of Paolo killing the next then she became, I thought, a very deep character. I really love her. And so I would love for someone else to take that baton and make her what I think, give her starring moment. So that great thing about Star Wars is she's there, so someone else could do that.
Alyssa Wong, please write about.
Please report to the principal's office.
And bring Vakara's love tats with her, or to the past.
Yes. So that was the other thing is she had a trauma that involved having to kill her own pet because as this indoctrination or conditioning thing, and then when she had to save her own life, kill this poor Nexu that Paolo marked for death. It is your fault though, in all seriousness. Yeah. For the record.
Of course.
Then the first thing she does is she basically burns down, she had taken control of this crime syndicate and she burns it all down, and then the first thing she does is get 1 million cats. So she's basically becomes a bounty hunter and has got all these cats in her ship. And I would love for those adventures to continue because she's fantastic.
Yeah. Well, you mentioned a little bit about how the trans community responded to Vakara. Was there anything about the fan response to the series as a whole that kind of surprised you? Did you think that this series was going to be as beloved as it was? That we'd still be going insane over it over a year after we finished reading it?
But you want to start this one, Paolo?
Well, I was surprised a lot about Vakara, as Ethan said, and but the thing that surprised me a lot was that basically we started the series focusing on Bugs. So I was striving, to make this main character interesting for everyone, to make the series about him, and all of a sudden I realized the old supporting cast was more interesting to the people. So we had everyone going crazy for Tonga, everybody was crazy about, everyone else. Vakara, of course. So it was even Furlong and Zuckers were interesting, they were a thing. It's crazy because we found out from Lucasfilm when we asked for references and stuff that they basically had nothing. We were the very first people trying to put together things about these two, and it was so fun. I had a whole story in my head about those two. They were a couple in my head. They were so fun to draw. Yeah, that's my canon about Forlum and Zuckus.
Yeah, we made them. I wanted it to be sort of. They could be, to me, and this is probably going to sound controversial, but I wanted to make them Bert and Ernie if they were assassins. Like
can't
their
see
relationship
Yeah.
is very much like Bert
Yeah.
and Ernie.
I can't
Yeah.
And
unsee
it's
that
like,
now.
what?
No,
No,
it's
that was
perfect.
literally, that
Yeah.
was our,
No, it's like, I can't
that was-
unsee
yeah.
it now.
yeah, that was
Yeah.
our banner. Because it's
Yeah.
like, there was this innocence about them, but also they could be a couple. But they just have this weird dynamic where like one is hyper proper and then the other is kind of goofy. And like they just, but they clearly have like this deep bond, whatever it is, but they can also murder you.
I
So-
think
Yeah.
that it's
Murder,
perfect
murder,
because,
that's
like,
how
you
I
know,
call it.
they refer to each other as their partner,
Yeah.
but it's just like, are you like, as like partner in a relationship sense, a business sense? Are you committing crimes together? And it's like,
Yes.
there's an all of the above box, and that's what the two of them
Oh, yeah.
check. And it's just so perfect
Mhm.
because I just really love relationships like that where you're just like, what is this? How did this happen?
Well, also like, I
I
think,
think-
oh, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I think that was one of the strengths of the series too. We had these characters that were like outside, the main story of Star Wars,
Yeah.
and we could do whatever we wanted. We could see in them whatever we wanted, and it was crazy how many choices, how many possibilities we had in terms of characters and locations and stuff. Ethan came up with an amazing idea of a whole planet that's graveyard. So that was crazy as well. And the idea of designing different graves for different kinds of alien species, and then all the kind of stuff we could do, it was incredible. And I want to say that Lucasfilm was very, incentive in this way, because they wanted us to do and create as much as we can in terms of, variety for the galaxy. It's a galaxy, it's a big place, so there could be anything out there.
Yeah, and you mentioned especially Tonga and Losha and these other the new Hedgehog crew, these newer characters that you guys developed. And Tonga, it's funny we've gotten all the way without talking about Tonga. We got to talk about her because, to my mind, she becomes, I know Valance is a lead. She really becomes the mother and the heart of the story. First of all, Ethan and Paolo, do you guys intend for that to happen? And then if not, or if so, at what point does she really become to take the fore? And what about her drew you to doing that?
Well, first of all, a lot of credit goes to Paolo, because one thing is, like, this is a very diverse cast. And not just in terms of, there was a same-sex couple and all that, but also in terms of, like, Paolo would purposefully, if there's a character and there's no description of, like, for Tonga, we didn't really say in the script what Tonga looks like. They're both human. And so it was very important that they be different. That for Paolo, like, he made sure that there was diversity in terms of, the physical, the racial. I mean, it's hard to say racial in Star Wars, I know, because they're technically but it was, if there were humans, it was not going to be all white humans. Like, and so the look of everybody is thanks to Paolo. Before he ran amok and killed that poor Nexu. But anyway, we won't harp on that.
And put Valance's heart in a jar.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, that was me. I will admit that. The heart in the jar was me.
Yeah, but he drew it.
He did draw it. Cruel. But anyway, like, so that was, that's all, I mean, a lot of, like, Paolo deserves all the credit for just really, that being important to him. And also it's important to me that, like, readers see themselves.
Yes.
And because it's an ensemble, you can do that. It's not like, if you write a Luke Skywalker series, it's going to be Luke Skywalker. He's going to be a blonde. But I wanted to have everybody, represented so that you could see yourself. Whoever you are, you could see yourself in one of these characters. So that was important. But the thing is, too, there was a push and pull because, obviously, is this Valance's book? Is this an ensemble? And the reason for that was, originally it was going to be split eventually into two books. Did you know this, Paolo? I don't know if you knew this.
Oh.
When Valance is pulled away by Vader, they were going to do a spin-off series called Dark Squadron, where he's running an Imperial thing. But then there was a paper shortage, if you remember, during the early days of the
Oh,
pandemic.
yeah.
And so Marvel had to make some like Sophie's Choice on what they're going to do so that they could actually get comics out the door. So we ended up writing out Valance, like, he's now working for Vader, and then all of a sudden he couldn't do that spin-off series. So Greg Pak, who was writing Darth Vader at the time, had to take him in. So he was running around working for Vader, and that was so sometimes circumstances made these things evolve, and I actually thought he had that funny with relationship with Ochita.
That's true.
Yeah, so it was like this whole, so none of that was planned. That was us improvising. And then it became, for a while, it became Tonga's crew with the Edgehawk, which was their ship. And I loved that. That was probably as much as I love Valance, like I really loved that dynamic of weirdos flying through space.
Yeah.
And the other thing with Tonga is there was, this is a can of worms. So in issue 4, at the end of issue 4, it looks like Boba Fett kills her. And it was a huge, I didn't know, I was kind of probably naive, but it was this huge backlash because, here we killed a bounty hunter of color who's in the same sex marriage. She wasn't really dead though, and we dropped a couple of visual hints that no one caught. Because there was like a footprint, and there was like a escape pod, and there was a footprint in issue 5, nobody caught that. So there were a lot of people angry at me, not so much you, I think, but mainly me. Like I remember getting messages like, Ethan Sachs, how much do I have to pay you not to hurt women in your comics? And I'm like, oh God, she's not dead. Because I really, there was kind of a cool arc that we got to tell where she has trauma, she survives this, she has trauma and like a phobia of Boba Fett, and then there's an issue where Boba Fett just wipes the floor with the entire team, of course, including Valance. Wait, was Valance? Maybe Valance wasn't there. I can't remember. But anyway, she's the last one left, and it's a little bit stolen from Saving Private Ryan, where there's a soldier who's afraid, and his friend is getting killed, sort of in the next room, and then finally works up the courage. So she finally works up the courage and is the one that takes down Boba Fett. No offense. So. But I wanted, like, that beat I was looking forward to so much, but it took so long. So I hope people eventually rereading it connect that, because that was like, I really wanted her arc to be overcoming that PTSD. So much about this is overcoming trauma, overcoming PTSD. Like literally, Bakura, Tonga, Valance, just about everyone except for Bosk. Bosk has no fine.
Yeah. No, because I read it slightly later, because I came into it late. And I remember reading it for the first time, and I was like, my friends told me to read this. I'm going to keep going, but I'm really mad right now. And then I was like, oh, she's not dead. And then rereading it, I was like, oh, I really should have picked up on that. Am I just bad at things?
There was another thing, too. On the page before, her twin brother dies the exact same way that she was. And she was on this mission of revenge, and it was supposed to be like this secular thing. Nobody. So it was a life lesson to me. It's like all these like motivations and themes and all that kind of stuff. Like if you don't, if I sold it a little bit better, it would have been maybe landed better. But I love where it ended up. So that was also like a life lesson to me. And also, I was surprised. That was when I realized, wow, people really care about these new characters that we've created. Like I thought, nobody's going to be that sad, and then she's going to come back, and it's going to be a cool story. But I didn't think for the 4 months that you didn't see her, in part because of the COVID delays, that it would be like that reaction. So it was cool in the end, but at the time it was very traumatic for me.
Look, if people care enough to be angry, at least they care enough, right?
Yeah.
Also, this is just a very passionate and opinionated fandom.
Yes.
And I love that. I love that.
Yeah. Right.
The Star Wars fans have their opinions.
So I do want to get into a little bit of Codebreakers, and we might have, if we have time, come back to Bounty Hunters and some more general Star Wars. But I do want to talk about, this new adventure, issue number 3 comes out this Wednesday. Hyperspace Stories Codebreakers. This is from Dark Horse. And you're writing it with Mark Yarza, Jose Marzan Jr., and Nicola Righi. And it's following Poe Dameron, again, like I said, before the events of The Force Awakens. He tries to stop, I'm going to be hopefully vague, not spoilery, tries to stop the First Order from intercepting some resistance intelligence. Hopefully that's a good, vague way of putting it.
There's a twist.
There's a great twist. Maybe, asking about Poe, what you're writing about him, and in the sequel era, and in this time period before Force Awakens.
So, Dark Horse Star Wars series are generally more like for all ages, so a little bit of a younger audience. So this is more of like a fun romp than no hearts ripped out, no dead Nexu. It's sort of more of a straight line adventure. Again, with some twists, but it's more of a fun. I'm not working through inner demons the same way that I did with Bounty Hunters. So it's fun to work a different part of your brain. And I kind of, Poe Dameron really grew on me as I wrote it. I love Oscar Isaac, and I wouldn't necessarily have said that Poe would have been my favorite of the new characters. Like, I'm definitely more of a, I would say probably more of a, I was going to say Daisy Ridley, but more of a Rey, But that being said, it was, I got him, I think. And I got, like, one of the great notes that I've ever gotten from Lucasfilm was, like, you really nailed this character. So I took that appreciatively, That's the second best note I ever got. The best note just came from this it was announced yesterday that I'm doing they have this Boba Fett Black, White, and Red, and so I'm doing issue 3. So each issue is a different creative team. And it's a really dark Boba Fett story, and they're Bomar monks that look like they're basically metal spiders. And I put in a reference photo of an infestation of huntsman spiders for the artist, and the Lucasfilm note was, "New nightmare unlocked." That is the single best note I've ever gotten from Lucasfilm.
That's such a, I don't want to say whiplash, but man, that's such a contrast.
They're very different.
Like going from this 42 issue run, adult trauma, 42 issues, Marvel, all adult, to this 4-issue, all ages Poe Dameron adventure, back to this. I mean, the Black, White, Red, if you guys don't know, is the same kind of thing as Black, White, Blood.
There's a lot of blood.
Yeah, a lot of blood. Beautiful art, beautiful style. Maybe what's it like to go between, I mean, there's a lot of different contrasts, to go between these different tones, even go between Marvel and Dark Horse, go between, and writing a younger Poe story versus these other more adult characters. I
mean, it's what makes Star Wars so magical is there's an entry point for everyone. It's an expansive universe with lots of stories to tell. I do want to mention one thing while Paolo is here. The best part of wrapping up Bounty Hunters for me was that Paolo could come back for that 8-page wrap up, because we got to tell, we got to give everybody, most of them happy endings except Boss, but for a change. So that was special to have my brother from another mother back. What was it like for you coming back for that 8-page?
Oh yeah, I was so happy because by the time the last story arc for Bounty Hunters was starting, I had already moved back into superhero stuff with Marvel. I was doing a Spider-Man, but the idea of having a chance to do like the finale of the series was so cool. I wanted to be there for balance, and for all those people we traumatized.
All the people you traumatized.
Oh yeah, I traumatized. Sorry.
I think the fans liked the trauma.
As you're saying, it's a good comment.
Like, honestly, the fans liked the trauma, even if we cried over it.
Don't worry.
Because it made it feel more real.
Yeah.
Like, because you watch people that you love in real life go through the ugly parts of life, and not just like the pretty and fun stuff. So, it definitely makes it feel more real when we get to see that darker side of the things that we love, Because, who doesn't love the bounty hunters in Star Wars? I mean, Boba Fett, come on.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, okay. And I have like one final question before we move along. Can we expect a return of the Dream Team, you guys?
One day, for sure.
Yay!
Yeah.
We need you back.
I want to do like an old man balance story.
Yes.
There we go.
One day.
Man, yeah, because I mean Marvel does Old Man Hawkeye, Old Man
Yeah.
Logan,
Yeah.
Old Man Balance.
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Old man balance.
There we go.
I mean, they're gonna make more Star Wars movies, definitely. So
Yeah.
there's room for us. There's
Yeah.
room for balance.
Well,
We'll definitely reunite at some point.
yeah.
You know.
That's good to know.
Yeah.
Good to know.
That's great.
Yeah.
Okay. I think that is pretty much it for.
I want to get
today.
one photo with
Sure.
Paolo.
Oh, good call. Good call. Before
There
we
we go.
let you go to bed.
Yeah.
Hold it for you.
Sure, actually, if you don't mind. I got one, but if you don't mind doing one more really quickly.
There we go.
Sorry.
It's like a real person selfie stick.
Thank you very much.
Um,
And thank you all. So
Yeah.
thank you
Yeah.
for having us.
Yo, yeah, thank you guys for agreeing to do this because I was like, this is a shot in the dark.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah, we got
Yeah.
this. Before we let you guys go, I mentioned Codebreakers. Paolo, do you want to plug your current work? And anything else you want to plug?
Oh, I'm currently
Socials.
working on Ghost Spider.
Yeah.
Issue 1, the new series is just out. So if you want to go to start reading the new series with the Spider-Man as a main character, that's a nice starting point. I promise there's going to be a lot of drama there for everyone who's interested.
Oh, there seems to be a common denominator
Oh, damn.
on series that you work on.
Yeah. I have to go with my editors. I mean, different writer is Stephanie Phillips. She's super talented. Lots of trauma here. There's something wrong with me, definitely.
We all need therapy. It's true.
Yeah.
There we go.
Except for Boss.
Except for
I think
Boss.
he already
Boss.
goes
Boss
to
is
therapy.
awesome.
There we go. Paolo, where can they find you on the internet, on social media?
You can find me on Instagram. That's the main place you can find you can find me. I'm not on X, Twitter anymore, so
Sure.
I'm on Facebook, but I'm not very active there.
Yeah.
Sorry. So it's just Instagram.
And
Name
Villanelli.
is the last name.
Yeah. So, Villanelli Paolo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ethan, same question to you.
Mainly on Bluesky these days. I think it's like if you
What's
search
that?
Ethan Sachs, I
Yeah.
think I'm the only one. There is another Ethan Sachs that I met, who is I don't know if I can curse on this or not. Okay. Who is, I'm not kidding, the king of dog shit of Virginia. I'm not making that up. Like this is what I met him in real life because we have the exact same spelling of names, and he has a large dog shit removal service that people
Literally.
pay like a monthly fee. So he said, "I'm the king of dog shit," and I was like,
Literally, wow.
"Wow, my doppelganger is So that was like more interesting.
It is just Ethan Sachs.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is just Ethan Sachs at Blue Sky. I'm on Instagram as well, but I'm almost never there. So.
And any projects you want to plug?
Well,
that you
so
haven't already?
two things were announced this very week. Number one was Boba Fett Black, White, and Red issue 3. Also, I'm doing the official prequel to Predator Badlands, and I was actually working with the director, Dan Trachtenberg, and I got to see the movie already. It's unfinished cut. Yeah, amazing.
Lucky you.
Yeah.
You said that so casually.
Yeah, the art on that is by Elvin Ching, who won the Art Atelier. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right, the Marvel contest. So it's first American comic book work, I believe. And then the last thing is I'm doing an official Avatar. It's called Avatar Tipping Point for Dark Horse, and that is officially canon for between Avatar 1 and Way of Water, that 1 year gap. Working with James Cameron, which is insane.
Nice.
Getting notes from James Cameron. So
Whoa.
yeah. So anyway, that is all 3 of them. 3 different sci-fi universes.
There you go.
Insane. You can find me at Bejeweled Mothma on any social media platform I want to be found on. Like Bejeweled, like the Mon Mothma song,
Yeah.
like the Taylor Swift song, and then Mothma, like Mon Mothma.
Her.
Her.
That one.
This
That
one.
There we go.
Who was never in Bounty Hunters, but that's okay.
Sure. You can find me on Instagram and Blue Sky and Threads. Nobody uses Threads, but on Threads also at
Threads.
MNUG1138. MNUG1138. on my foodie Instagram, beaches.foodie, if you like that. My CNE food post coming up there. There we go. So the Tractor Beam, and I mentioned this at the top. Tractor Beam Comics Reviews every Wednesday we go live at 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific, and that is on the Star Wars Underworld YouTube channel, or Star Wars Underworld YouTube, and then the Streams tab or the Live tab, and you'll be able to find it there and find all our episodes there, and also the playlist. So there's that, and I just launched the Bluesky account there, it's the social media presence. So at the Tractor Beam on Bluesky.bisky.social, whatever it is. Also, my other podcast, the Ion Cannon podcast, also on the Underworld Network. That's Mondays at 8:30 p.m. Eastern, 5:30 p.m. Pacific. I don't know what that is, Central European time, but you can check it out.
Like
1:30 a.m. Central European time.
Yeah.
So please do check that out. And
I'm there a lot.
Yeah. She comes on to talk about Mon Mothma.
Yeah.
There we go. But yeah, and so we're happy to for you guys to follow. Also, we use the Plug the Underworld Discord server. A lot of conversations about Star Wars, a lot about a whole bunch of things going on, a lot of events and different things. So if you're curious about that, DM me and I'll send you a link to the Discord server. But other than that, thanks for everyone for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Ethan. Thank you to our lovely